In this week's edition of Political Pulse, Virginia lawmakers are advancing new policy changes, including a major rights amendment voters will decide this November, potential relief on electric bills, and a legal challenge from hemp retailers pushing back against the state. And on the national front, Senator McConnell returns home from rehab, President Trump issues new immigration orders, and Dr. Fauci is held in contempt of Congress. I'm your host, Isla Miabi, and let's jump right in. 7 hemp retailers across the Commonwealth filed a federal lawsuit against Governor Spanberger's administration last Friday. They say the administration's August 15th deadline, which bans hemp products with high THC levels, isn't enough time to adjust. The retailers argue that these products are how they survive and that despite making significant investments to adhere to previous framework, much of their inventory is now deemed unsellable. The retailers are asking a federal judge to temporarily block the deadlines before it take effect. Spanberger's office pushed back, saying these products have flooded Virginia with little oversight and that a new law closes a loophole that has been exploited. Ratepayers in Virginia may soon see relief on their electricity bills. The State Corporation Commission ruled last Friday that large data centers must pay for transmission infrastructure built solely to serve them, a cost previously funded by customers. The ruling came after testimony from the Piedmont Environmental Council. It argued that Dominion Energy's existing policies do not protect ratepayers from the cost of data centers. Council President Chris Miller says the principle is simple.
If something is only required because of a data center and otherwise you wouldn't build it, then 100% of that cost ought to be allocated to that rate class and that ratepayer.
Dominion Energy has 90 days to file a new cost assignment proposal with the SCC. Virginians headed to the polls Tuesday for midterm primary elections. For the U.S. Senate Republican primary, retired Army Major General Barrett Mizusawa pulled in 51% of the vote, defeating U.S. Navy veteran David Williams and businesswoman Kim Farrington. Mizusawa will now face incumbent Democratic Senator Mark Warner in November. Warner is seeking his 4th term in a state that hasn't elected a Republican to the U.S. Senate since 2002. Governor Spanberger announced Thursday that she is formally intervening in the proposed $67 billion merger between Dominion Energy and NextEra Energy. This is the first time a Virginia governor has taken such action before the SCC. Spanberger outlined 3 non-negotiables for the merger: affordability, job protection, and ensuring that clean energy efforts continue. The proposed merger is still awaiting approval from the SCC. Both NextEra and Dominion said that they welcome Spanberger's decision to participate. Virginians will vote this November on whether to automatically restore voting rights for people with felony convictions upon their release from incarceration. Virginia is one of just 3 states with a constitution that permanently disenfranchises people with felony convictions unless their rights are reinstated by the sitting governor. The proposed constitutional amendment would also restore the right to serve on juries, become a notary public, and run for public office. Senator Mitch McConnell said Thursday that he's out of rehab after suffering a fall in mid-June, but has not revealed when he's returning to the Senate. The 84-year-old Kentucky Republican has missed 51 Senate floor votes since his hospitalization, and he said that he will recover at home. McConnell's condition remained uncertain for weeks following his hospitalization on June 14th, prompting critics, including Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, to ask for transparency on his condition. Upon his discharge, McConnell said he will continue engaging with staff and colleagues on important Senate matters, but will not be running for re-election. His term is set to end in January. President Trump signed 2 executive orders Thursday in an attempt to curb what the White House calls birthright tourism. One order would limit the number of people eligible for citizenship after being born in the United States. The other would impose stricter restrictions on U.S. visitors seeking to obtain visas to give birth on American soil. This decision comes following a June 30th Supreme Court ruling that addressed the limits of birthright citizenship, prompting Trump to try again with a different approach. A Senate committee voted Thursday to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress. This decision was made over his refusal to answer questions regarding his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. pandemic. The former top health official chose to invoke the Fifth Amendment more than 100 times at a July 29th hearing before the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. Fauci explained his decision as a way to avoid facing what he described as Senator Paul Rand's obsession with calling for his prosecution. The Justice Department confirmed that the referral for contempt was received and that is undergoing a review process. President Trump dismissed reports Thursday that the U.S. military is short on munitions amid the ongoing war with Iran. The Washington Post reported that Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth clashed at Camp David over alleged missile shortages, but the White House denied such exchanges. Trump said that the leakers of those statements are being hunted down and that his administration will seek long-term jail sentences for those responsible. The U.S. Senate voted 51 to 47 to confirm 74 Trump nominees, just as lawmakers prepare to leave for their August recess. Among the positions filled are roles with the Department of Defense, the State Department, the Treasury Department, the Department of Energy, and the Department of Homeland Security. Friday's mass confirmation push gave the White House a major staffing push as lawmakers head into a busy fall. The Senate is now expected to return in September, facing a packed fall agenda, including a pending Attorney General confirmation and the reconciliation bill. That's all for this week's edition of Political Pulse. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you all again next week.